30 years ago, I set myself a goal to tell the stories of adventure, to stand on the tops of the mountains, to float the West's best rivers.
Gary's Greenie Special.
My name is Gary Lewis. These are stories from the edge of civilization. Tales of yesterday. Notes from wilderness. This is Frontier Unlimited. The island is 130 miles long, 65 miles wide, and it's the fourth largest island in the United States after Hawaii, Kodiak Island, and Puerto Rico. But first we have to get there, and to get to Prince of Wales Island, you gotta go through Ketchikan. Because we arrived later in the day, we stayed at a hotel on the waterfront and spent the first morning in Alaska walking around the city of Ketchikan. When you go to Ketchikan, you gotta see Creek Street. It's this beautiful, old, picturesque Alaska, the way you expect it to look, and a lot of great shops, places you can get local knowledge, pick up some artwork. On this trip, I've got a great group of guys. Ron Balash has been on a dozen trips to Alaska with me. Ralph Price, this is his first time to Alaska, loves to fish, hasn't fished in a while. Randy Knight, Randy's been on several trips to Alaska with me. Brian Cathcart, grew up in Colorado, lives in Central Oregon. And then there's my dad. We've been fishing together for 57 years. Ketchikan is built on a hill, and this is a rainy place. They set a century-old rain record here in August, the month before we got there. And water was burbling out of the drains and coming up out of the ground. They recognized there was an emergency, and then it all started to move. The ground started to shift, and the landslide snapped off trees, power poles, and dirt crashed into a row of hillside homes. And the landslide left one person dead, pancaked 4 homes, and they had to evacuate 60 homes in the area. Another way to get from Ketchikan to Prince of Wales Island is to take a float plane from Ketchikan to Klawock. It's only 51 miles in a straight line and takes about 30 minutes from takeoff to landing.
Hey, oh, you got my bag.
Okay, great. Sorry about your arm. No problem. They're just sitting there like this. I didn't think it was funny at all because they were real cat people. Oh dear.
In 2012, the Wagners bought a small parcel of property outside of Hollis and began to put up a cabin. Over the next dozen years, Doug and Lucas expanded the cabin and built more outbuildings, which have become the lodge. Father and son team, Doug and Lucas, opened Harlequin Lodge in 2022, and now they offer charter fishing, good cooking, and hospitality. And I've got to say, it's one of the homiest lodges I've been to.
You're the man, buddy. Dad does the dishes, and I do. Yeah. I trick him a little bit more.
Prince of Wales Island is walled by mountain peaks, cut with fjords, carpeted with dense forest. It's 600 miles north of Seattle. About 6,000 people live on the island. Craig is the largest community with about 1,500 people. Klawock has 900 people. Then there's Heidelberg, there's Hollis, and Thorn Bay.
Normally he just speaks Gary. Nobody knows what he said.
Well,
we just look and smile.
they speak profanity.
Make him feel good.
Yeah, they do understand profanity.
Oh, shoot.
I like to talk to him in eagle. Bald eagle.
Bald eagle.
I had a sense that if we looked upriver, we might just see a bear. And I told a couple of the guys to be quiet and go down and take a look. And sure enough, there was a big black female and a couple of cubs on the gravel bar upstream.
I think I'm just gonna hang out in the car.
Let's walk down. He said they're waiting for everybody to go ahead of him.
Where is Welp?
He's fishing.
Oh, cool.
We need to spread.
In September, we're all about the silver salmon, the coho, which come in after the pinks. You have to wade through the pinks to get to the silvers, and although you might not see them, they're there. Every piece of dark water you look into has coho in it. Drift fishing, beads, bait, flies, spinners, it all works.
Warren scope mounts didn't become the standard of the industry in an engineering lab, and we didn't become legendary by standing still. At Warren scope mounts, we put our gear to the test with top shooters and on the hunt year-round. We know long-range shooters and world-class hunters demand the best, and we build the best. Bases and rails, scope rings, MSR mounts, and magazine extensions. Ask for Warren scope mounts at your favorite gun stores or visit warrenscopemounts.com. Confidence in every shot.
There's a place in the mountains untouched by a stressful world, where the ice crystals break under your feet, temperatures bring hands together. From a time out for the game at Crescent Lake Lodge, to a lovely commute, where dinner plans are all but set. Make your stay at Crescent Lake Lodge and Resort at crescentlakeresort.com.
You haven't been here, but you know it. You've heard the sounds, smelt the air, and seen where your heart lands, if not yet. You haven't been here, but you've longed for a destination near or far, where the young and old find rest and excitement, not apart. You haven't been here, but you're on your way to a place not far. ExploreTheDalles.com.
And then there's the bears. You want to talk to the bears, you got to have a system. I speak to them in eagle. Bald eagle. What we want to do is split up into groups, go find different water eventually, but it's nice to start everyone off together. So, letting the bears go on upriver, we walk together down a well-marked trail and then spread out in the river.
You always smile like that?
That looks so natural.
But this isn't my best profile.
You've always been wrong about it.
Yeah.
And I would guess there's several more in that same spot where he's at, but there's half a dozen out here and half a dozen there. And so I think you should try that little spinner you got and see if you can get a strike. I'm having trouble presenting this egg bead, soft bead. There's a lot of old mining equipment, forestry equipment left in the rivers here on this island, and the moss is growing over it. It just makes you remember there were people here that carved a living out of this landscape and then fished these same rivers. And after everybody was fishing, I looked at a pocket that I reckoned would have a few coho in it, and sure enough, a snappy fish came out of the dark water at my feet, snapped at my spinner, and I backed off, went downstream, and grabbed Brian, who was closest to me, and I had him tie on the heaviest streamer he had, purple and chartreuse. And he stood up on the rock, worked the fly down in the dark water, turned my back on him, and he had a fish on. Keep your rod in your hand. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous? Right there. The purple and the green. Are we having fun? Are we having fun? Nice. Keep your rod in. Oh, I didn't know if you handed it to them. Okay, now go ahead. Look at that, man.
That's right, brother.
Hold it up out like that. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Here you go. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the thing we're here for. Okay, now, see that mossy rock? There, this side, about 8 feet this side of that mossy rock. You see that little riffle area there? Okay, there's some in there, and then there's some down there.
Okay, yeah. I remember that.
I mean, right here. So if you double the length of your rod,
Yeah, right in there.
yeah, that's where it's at. So I mean,
Where do you think I should start over there?
let me show you. Let me show you where I'm going to cast. Okay. This is as far as you might cast a little bit farther than this. No, that's about the cast you want to make.
Yeah.
Because they're in there, and then straight down from there, they're there. So very close. And no, I want you. And what this is a snagger hook that's laying right here on the beach. Don't walk around here barefoot. Mostly what we're seeing in the river are humpies, the pink salmon, but there's a few coho mixed in. They're in the dark spots, and you look upstream, you see a long, dark, deep piece of water. You know there's silvers. You know there's coho in it. In the afternoon, we fished higher up in the watershed and spread out to explore and look for fish. And I followed Dad downstream, found a log jam hole, and I had just lost a spinner. I bummed one off at Dad, cast it upstream into the snaggy water, and boom, hooked a fish on a long cast right up there where the water came down between two root wads.
Power is confidence. It breaks down barriers, plows through fields of uncertainty, travels 1,000,000 miles, then goes 1,000,000 more. When others waver, power pushes forward. On the high seas, ice roads, and deep underground, power takes performance standards and shatters them. It uses 100 years of formulating expertise to engineer the next generation of diesel engine oil chemistry. Introducing Isosin Advanced Technology, the power you need to go further.
Frontier Roast is a medium roast derived from 100% select-grade Colombian coffee, the essential brew of the backcountry. For the finest trout fishing in America, why not enjoy the finest coffee before you make the first cast? Get yours today at GaryLewisOutdoors.com.
Introducing Nosler's Whitetail Country Ammunition. Whether you're chasing that trophy buck, shooting management deer, or simply filling the freezer, you need ammunition you can rely on for a quick, clean kill every time. Loaded with the legendary solid base bullet and the high-performance straight wall bullet, Whitetail Country Ammunition sets a new standard in deer hunting. With exceptional bullet penetration and expansion, to kill deer quick.
Life is good, yeah. Life is good, yeah. Yeah, in my darkest times, you got me feeling like I've been walking on air. Left all my worries and cares. I've got no burdens around you.
Sometimes you just feel it, you know you're gonna catch a fish. And I had that feeling when I tied the lure on, the one I bummed off of Dad. And man, it feels good when a coho bites. This one slammed the lure and turned and streaked back and rolled like coho do and thrashed a little bit, and then I got him onto the sand. Finally, that's a nice big fish too. Pro tip, when your dad comes along, bum a spinner off him. I wasn't the only one to catch a salmon, and now we had eggs to cure. I had brought some good Procure with me and enlisted Ralph to mix up a batch. He had never cured salmon eggs before, but he cured them like a boss. You have to see this.
Hey, this is Ralph. Today, we are going to cure these eggs with a Procure Last Supper. Place the skein on your work surface, berry side up. Make sure it is evenly covered on all the berries. Place skein into bags, berry side up. Sprinkle egg cure into bag. Massage cure into eggs. If necessary, add more cure. Be gentle with the berries. I'm Ralph. Fish the eggs that the pros use. It's the last thing they're gonna eat before you bonk them on the head.
We're only 2 days away from the opening of the season where you can use bait. And so it's artificial fly and lure time right now, the first half of September. And we have not been bumping into other people fishing. We've just been fishing where we want to, and there's fish all around us. Pink salmon. In this hole right now, there's chum salmon, silvers, and pink salmon all at the same time. And we've got it to ourselves. It stinks though. Man, if you look down from up above, you see carcasses just littering the gravel bars. And you know that these fish have spawned over the last couple of weeks. Some of them just right here in this hole, and then some of them probably spawning upstream, and then there'll be a big rain event and flush some of these carcasses down, and they're just distributed all over. There's bear tracks in the sandbars and piles of this gray, gooey bear scat.
Yeah, it's Ralph.
Yes, I am.
Be gentle, be gentle. Student body president.
Put out salad all season.
Was it really?
No, you wanted to pass.
Just reach your hand in and rock it.
I stripped some feathers off of an old jig, and I put a pink bubblegum tail on here. And I walked into this little chute. I made one cast upstream, I drifted it through, and a silver charged right up as I was taking it out of the water. So now I'm gonna make a second cast. This is just the kind of spot where a silver would hang up as it goes up through these rapids. Sometimes the guy with the camera has to put the camera down and pick up a fishing rod. I had put together a spinner and hoochie combination, and I knew it was going to catch a fish. Knew it as we walked down to the river, looked at the spot, and handed the rod to Trevor. He got the feel of the rod, made a couple short casts, and then he plopped the spinner right on the edge of darkness, and the spinner and the hoochie fluttered down, and he turned the crank, and bam, a fish streaked out of that dark water and nailed it. Trevor played it like a pro, but then he forgets, and he grabs the line, and I almost had a heart attack, but it all worked out, and Trevor got his salmon.
Gary says you got to put a skirt on it.
We happened to arrive on Prince of Wales Island during an important totem pole raising.
Power is confidence. It breaks down barriers, plows through fields of uncertainty, travels 1,000,000 miles, then goes 1,000,000 more. When others waver, power pushes forward. On the high seas, ice roads, and deep underground, power takes performance standards and shatters them. It uses 100 years of formulating expertise to engineer the next generation of diesel engine oil chemistry. Introducing Isosin Advanced Technology, the power you need to go further.
Frontier Roast is a medium roast derived from 100% select-grade Colombian coffee, the essential brew of the backcountry. For the finest trout fishing in America, why not enjoy the finest coffee before you make the first cast? Get yours today at GaryLewisOutdoors.com.
Warren scope mounts didn't become the standard of the industry in an engineering lab, and we didn't become legendary by standing still. At Warren Scope Mounts, we put our gear to the test with top shooters and on the hunt year-round. We know long-range shooters and world-class hunters demand the best, and we build the best. Bases and rails, scope rings, MSR mounts, and magazine extensions. Ask for Warren Scope Mounts at your favorite gun stores or visit WarrenScopeMounts.com. Confidence in every shot.
People were traveling from Haida Gwaii and from other parts of British Columbia, arriving at the same time we did. About 6,000 people live on Prince of Wales Island, and all of a sudden there were more cars on the road, more people in the shops. Craig is the largest community on the island with 1,500 people. Klawock has 900, then there's Heidelberg, Hollis, Thorn Bay. Prince of Wales is home to Tlingit and Haida people. The Haida count Haida Gwaii as their homeland. It's just off the coast of British Columbia and south of Prince of Wales Island. The Haida have two moieties, otherwise known as descent groups, the eagle and raven. The Tlingit moieties are raven, eagle, wolf, killer whale, frog, thunderbird, hummingbird, and butterfly. I always feel a little melancholy on the last day and a little hopeful. I woke up, it was our last day of fishing on the island, and I looked over at the clock and I realized I forgot to set the alarm. So I've already slept through the best fishing hour of the day. We hurried, we drove down to the river, we were too late, but we had the good bait. And I've tied a good egg loop knot here. And so just put the point of the hook down in to the skein and then pull the rest of the gob. I had found an old rod in the cabin, a Buzz Ramsey rod with an old cardinal spinning reel. I put some more line on it. It's exactly what we would have used in the 1990s. Old school. I put together a bobber and bait rig. And I thought to myself, if you're going to be late, at least you have the best bait. We get down to the water and immediately a fish is jumping. It's a small colored up coho, and I think it's a fish we've seen before. We fished this spot a couple times, and I just try to get the drift right where it's gonna feed it right to that fish, and bam, bobber goes down. Yes! Nice! The Pro Cure worked. Oh, I thought it was a Dolly Varden chewing on it. Sweet! Nice! Awesome. That's an upriver formulation. That is so cool. Want to plan a trip to Alaska? Don't forget about Prince of Wales Island. The coho should be in the rivers in good numbers in the second and third week of September, with fresh fish coming in every day. There's the Harris River, there's the Klawak, there's Maybe-So Creek, Thorn River, and a bunch of other creeks and smaller rivers. There's smaller rivers than you may be used to and will likely be full of pink salmon, which we also call the humpies. But when you see a bunch of humpies in a pool, or if you've been catching humpies and want to catch coho, the trick is to fish below the humpies where the coho are. One way is to use a fly rod with a sink tip and heavy fly on a short leader. Another way is to use a floating line with a heavy fly under a big indicator, or a jig and a float, or a heavy spinner like a number 5 blue fox. If you're bringing a fly rod, you're going to be better off with a 7, 8, or even a 9 weight, and 10-pound test leader. In addition to the fishing license, you're going to need to buy a tribal pass if you plan on fishing the Klawak River, and learn to tell the difference between pink salmon and coho salmon if you don't know how already. You'll want to keep the fresh coho and release the pinks. Plan to bring waders, and don't forget that your wading boots should not have felt on the bottom. Bring good rain gear, especially the closer you get to October.
You guys making fun of me?
No. You know how many times we've tried to coach other people that, like, at least you are saying what we're asking you to say.
Yeah, you're doing it right.